Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 2 in this series between Liquid Taeja and Liquid Snute here on Nuclear Precinct. So far the game has been really interesting as Taeja was able to just out-micro and outplay Snute in Game 1. Snute, the player's champion, was doing extremely well early in the game, was able to get a very strong economic advantage, but Taeja, with a very smart maneuver with his medevacs and a squad, or I guess a platoon of Marines, able to make his way over and do a bit of damage, sniping down a hatchery. And then once one hatchery was down, loss of larva, loss of production, Snute really had a difficult time trying to get back into it. Will he be able to get back in here in Game 2 of this best of 7? Currently Taeja taking a 1-0 lead. Stay tuned and find out, as we are now looking at Liquid Snute spawning as the red Zerg on the bottom left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Taeja spawning as the blue Terran on the bottom right. Now, it really feels like a lot of the Terran versus Zerg matchups have really come down to Zerg trying to be extremely macro-centric in the early stages of the game, while Terran players try and use Reapers, then Hellbats, and then just massive bio to pressure and take down Zerg. The Terran player cannot really go on an all-out attack in the early portions of the game just because of the sheer production of Zerg, but if they can get in some very smart engagements, perhaps take down a handful of drones, perhaps reset a hatchery, force units to be trained instead of drones, then they can make something happen in the mid-game. That's what we saw in the previous matchup, and that looks like how things will be unfolding here in Game 2 so far, as Taeja going into of early Reaper. Now, Reapers have been both nerfed and buffed. I've already mentioned this a number of times, but Reapers are just extremely good in the early portions of the game, but they really have fallen off in the late game. I was hoping that the Reapers would get some sort of late game upgrade that makes them a bit more useful, such as, say, armor-piercing rounds. One of the reasons why Reapers are just so ineffective most of the time is that their damage is 4, and also that means that the most damage that they can ever do to an Ultralisk fully upgraded is, I believe, like 2 or 3 points of damage per round of attack. That's like 4 damage a second, which is not very much when you consider natural regeneration on Ultralisk and its armor. We're going to see the Reaper now make its way in here, trying to snipe down a couple of drones. Oh, one drone is able to make it away. Are we going to see another extractor come into play? Yes, there you go. The Queen will be coming in, and one drone may actually get taken down there. There it is. And it did force at least 2 extractors to be built. That is a loss of 6 minerals there and a bit of mining time. Now what we're going to see is Taeja's lone Reaper here will get a brother in arms, so to speak. Nope. I guess the brother in arms is hanging back at home and not doing anything. Perhaps just patrolling back and forth here, as we now see the Reaper is still trying to do a bit of engagement. This is not what I really wanted to see, as Snute is going for a 3rd and 4th Queen. Now, Queen number 3, Queen number 4 is really for defensive purposes. The extra energy allows for creep tumors, which connects these 2 bases. Also, being able to get off a transfusion or 2 is very helpful if Taeja tries to do another strong push. The Queen still playing a game of darts against that Reaper. The Reaper has to be extremely careful, as the Reaper has the same range as that Queen, except the well, I know it looks like a game of darts, but it's actually talons. I don't know why they haven't really fixed that yet, as we do see the 3rd hatchery now coming into play down over here. The Reapers are now making their way in. You can see the creep tumors are starting to land. Are they going to snipe down the creep tumor as the Queens are in position and push back the Reapers once more? Creep tumor once again landing forward and will be able to start spreading that creep. Hellions now joining in on the fight, as Snute just buying himself time at the hatchery over here. Eventually, this hatchery will get destroyed, even though it is being constructed at the same time. Nope, it looks as though the Hellions are now backing off. Oh, yes, John Victor Kim, yes, Terran players. let's see if Taeja can live up to the Terran here, or Terran it up, as we are looking at the hatchery about to fall. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a dangerous move by Snute. Snute needs to be very careful as the queens are in position. The queens, oh, very nicely done by Taeja, making sure to go after the higher hit point queen. There's the transfusion, beautifully baited out and absorbing a bit more damage here again. Now, as the creep tumors are going down, are we going to see this pair now make a move out again? The Reapers, the Hellions are all in position, and now the creep tumors will be able to connect. Roach Warren, Roach is now coming into play. We need to see some transfusions. The queen needs to make its way down. This hatchery cannot fall. Otherwise, that's the most expensive set of broodlings that I've ever seen on a map. There's one transfusion, but it's not going to be doing very much at all, as Taeja may set things up for a very, very good advantage in the mid game again. All right, Roach now trying to come in. It looks as though, yes, the units have, or sorry, all of these Hellions and Reapers will fall. Sorry, the broodlings will all fall, as the Hellions and the Reapers able to do a bit of damage. Meanwhile, Hellbat drop coming back into the main. This was a very, very nicely timed two-prong attack, even distracting me a bit, losing the hatchery and also getting in a couple of Hellbats inside the main base, or the natural expansion. Nothing in the main base yet. 24 over 24 drones, 22 over 24, as we do see very heavy saturation, and all Snute can really hope to do right now is double expand at this point, hope that one of the bases gets up, and then be able to defend them, and then maybe start making drones. Making drones at this point is rather risky, even though he is making up 8 right now. He's going to oversaturate his mineral lines, but he wants to make sure that he has enough drones for when these hatcheries are up. Meanwhile, Hellbats dropping in once more. Drones now making their way in. It looks like one drone will get taken down, 2 drones now taken down as the queens are coming over. Meanwhile, the Hellbats still taking a bit of damage there. It looks like they will get taken down as the Hellbats do get cleaned up once more. Medevac unable to do any healing just because of the number of queens on the ground, and we are now moving into tier 2. What is Snute's choice of tier 2 going to be? He is going to have much more gas than in the previous game, just because he does have 4 extractors down relatively early. Meanwhile, Snute is going to be sitting on 4 hatcheries here in just a moment, but is he going to be able to defend this, as we do see Hellions and Reapers with Marauders supporting right behind it. We do see Stim has been completed, going into Combat Shield and into 1-1 upgrades with armor upgrades as well. Is it going to be enough, as the Hellions are now trying to make their move once again? Banelings do find a good splash there. The Baneling just needs to find a target and take down some units, as the Zerglings and the Roaches now come in from behind. No real option for retreat here, as we do see more reinforcements. Marauders, Hellbats now still battling it in. Banelings now trying to make another move. Are they going to perhaps explode straight up on those Hellbats? Another Hellbat does get taken down, and this could be a move inside the main base. Yes, it does look like it. The Marauders and the Hellbats are all here. Zerglings now looking to make a move here, as all those units may get picked up. Banelings finding their targets, as now a drop back down onto the low ground. Roaches getting in some free shots there. Hellbat trying to take a lot of drones down, and it looks like, wow, that was a good, no, that was not a good number of drones taken out. I thought that perhaps Taeja did get the shot off there, was not able to, as we now see one lone Marauder inside a medevac. Zerglings making the move for the counterattack. Harvester count is 66 to 50, as we see that the third base will most likely just get lifted off. SCV now taken down there, as more medevacs were trying to retreat and return home. Alright, I believe that this is a much, much better situation for Snute than in Game 1. Snute looking very strong so far. Taeja is a bit behind. I believe he was more even at this stage in the game in the previous matchup. So, what is Taeja looking to do? He knows that he has a lot of investment in this massive bio play, but he is now going into even more. With a total of 7 barracks, constantly training up Marines, it will be up to Snute to scout this out and get the right number of Banelings. Talking about Banelings, that is a large number of Banelings right there. They will be dealing massive amounts of damage, 39 damage versus light units, up to 43 in just a second. And with 43 damage per Baneling hit, those are some of the best one-hit wonders you can ask for in StarCraft 2. Off to the north, a medevac drop of mass Marines, or just 8 Marines, looking to perhaps put pressure here at the 10 o'clock expansion. Snute does not have this very well defended, as we now see a force moving out in the front. All right, the medevac now going to be positioning itself in right there. It looks as though there is 1 roach and 1 queen, and that is it, as the Marines are dropping from the skies, taking down 1, 2, 3 drones already. Roaches are now in position, but the roaches are having a difficult time trying to get there. 1 Marine will get taken down. No, none of the Marines have fallen. There we go, finally losing 1, as the Zerglings are still having problems. More drones now falling here, as we now see a beautiful counterattack by Snute. Snute going, you know what, I'm going to straight up walk inside this and try to take down all of these SCVs. What? Massive number of SCVs now taken down, workers killed, about even, as the Banelings are just going to try and take down a lot of units here. And there you go, Banelings just running inside the bases, taking down bunkers. This bunker is on fire, even though it's not in the red yet, as the roaches are still battling it out. More Banelings are coming in. The Marines will be forced to come back over, as the Banelings are now pulling back here. All right, bunker down to 70 hit points. Will it get repaired? I'll come back on it in just a moment, as the Marines here did get a good number of kills, as Snute does a devastating blow to Taeja's economy. And now will Snute be able to close the door? SCV now working overtime, getting that back up and running. Taeja now only running on 2 bases, as the 3rd base doesn't have anything there. Marines now trying to make their way back over again. These 2 upgraded Marines could deal a bit of damage, as the Spore Crawler, medevac, now trying to get away, will be able to run off to the north. And Taeja now needs to consider his options, and it looks as though he is going to be going for more drops. Level 3 weapons upgrades now coming in. This hatchery will most likely just get canceled, but a massive wave of units now coming back in through the front. Supply depots will be falling once again. Taeja in a bit of trouble, as he may be upside down in supply in just a moment. Banelings trying to find their way, and it looks like a couple of Widow Mines do fall here, but Taeja gonna hold this extremely well. Hi, Theognis, I need to set my way, as the Marines are now pushing in again. Okay, let's see, the Zerglings now pushing their way in right there. We can see his Overseers now making their way in. We are sitting on 4 hatcheries, but the 3rd base, or the main base, has pretty much nearly been picked apart, and now we are seeing a look as a push is coming in here. Taeja not giving up, trying to take down the 10 o'clock expansion while pressuring the main. The main taking a little bit of damage here, but the 10 o'clock expansion losing a lot of units, as Taeja now backing off again. We can see a massive number of Marines now coming into the front door to try to take down the 3rd. The 3rd may be falling here in just a moment. And yes, that's a busy. It may be falling here in just a moment, as the roaches and Banelings are trying to defend this here. Taeja has to be very careful. He cannot push that far in against that many Banelings on creep. Are the Banelings going to make their way in? It looks like they will all just get picked up and leave the fight again, as more Marines pushing in. Taeja doing a great job making sure that Snute is losing more, as he is now backing away again. Harvester count 87 to 34. That is still very, very difficult for Taeja. Taeja not trained, or now finally training up SCVs again, as he is trying to take down every hatchery on the field. Taeja doing a good job. He's exchanging extremely well, but StarCraft 2 is a game of macro, and if your macro is slipping, it doesn't matter how many losses you are forcing if you are not mining to keep up. All right. Oh, this is a new oh wow, I didn't realize they had changed this map here. Also, no Zelnaga Tower in the center. So this is a different version of Newkirk Precinct than I'm used to. Anyway, siege tanks now blasting back away. Marines are trying to engage. Are they going to pull back in time to see all the Banelings completely destroyed at the cost of a couple of Widow Mines? Good exchange there, as we now see Taeja now once again trying to push back in all of the roaches. Marines now fighting themselves up into a corner, making sure that they have siege tank support from high ground. And this is where things are amazing. You take a look. Snute has lost 5,000 more resources than his opponent, but is still ahead by a fair amount here. 1,300 resources. That just goes to show you the economic advantage and the economic backbone that Snute was able to establish early on in this game. Taeja down to 39 SCVs. Workers killed 55 to 27. Those 55 workers killed. And yeah, whenever you have more workers dead than alive, that is always a bad sign. Taeja still clawing his way back into this. He's exchanging extremely well, as I've mentioned a number of times. But Snute has just been playing extremely well as well. Let's see what's going to be happening as Taeja now backing away, trying to come in for a drop. Marines now getting picked up and dropped back down again. We may see a drop inside the main base. We are in Hive as the Zerglings, didn't even bother trying to take down the siege tank. Baneling, wow, that was a massacre right there, taking down so many Zerglings there as the Roach Baneling Zergling composition really taking down or really taking its toll on Taeja. I am surprised that we don't see any Hydralisks in order to handle some of the medevacs or even Mutalisks at this point. But Snute has been playing so well. I am not altogether sure what Taeja can really do. Taeja has been microing well. You can see that there are now 3-2 upgrades, soon to be going up against 3-3 Zerglings. The Zerglings are just going to be tearing apart all of these Marines, and I'm still waiting to see if we are going to be going into Hive Tech. All right, let's see what's going to be happening here. No Hive Tech as of yet. No, we have Hive Tech, but that is just for 3-3 upgrades. No Ultralisks, no Broodlords. Medivacs is staying high in the air, and Snute has not gone into Infestors. There's the attack now. We can see a little bit of a small engagement off to the north. Those are just changelings there, as the Marines and the Marauders are still trying to clean up this third base. Taeja not giving up. 7,000 resources lost difference, but the income shows why that is possible, as Taeja is now down by 1,500 minerals a minute, not even counting gas. So 1,700 resources, just discrepancy or a variation every minute of this game, as Snute is just extending his lead further and further. Army 94 to 100, and Taeja how is Taeja doing this? He has a larger army supply, as we now see Taeja now coming in. He may actually be able to break through this line here. We can see more Zerglings now trying to come in from the back. Marines are now trying to reinforce. It looks as though there are enough Overseers to try and clean up everything else, as the Queens now need to back away here. All right, it's just going to be an engagement inside the third base. Hatcheries will fall on this side, I believe. Meanwhile, it looks as though the command centers may get taken down, as the SCVs all getting blasted with splash damage. Medivacs off to the north. What is this? Taeja's army, where did it go? Down to 74 to 71 supply. One lone Marine left, trying to fight back the swarm. It looks like with that medevac, he will survive, as more medevacs now heading back off to the north. Here we go. Marines now dropping from the skies. Medevacs healing a whole bunch of units, as the Roaches and Banelings are there to recover again. Medevacs now pulling away, as we do still see 3 Widow Mines at the front door here. Snute now sitting on 81 drones to 21 SCVs. Taeja somehow still holding on, creating an army supply of 76, even though he's running on so little bases. His income now mainly consisting of mass mules right now. 7 mules mining away at this third base, which will get stripped mined here in just a moment. So far, the Zerglings need to finish off the Widow Mines. It looks like there's a nice Widow Mine hit, as the Overseers are trying to clean it up. There's the engagement. We are going into Chitinous Armor. We are going into Corruptors as well to try to handle some of those medevacs. The medevacs are now once again in full retreat, but the Zerglings do run faster. And here we go. There's the engagement. The Zerglings now trying to take down this third base for what seems like the umpteenth time here, as the Roaches and Zerglings finally, and with Baneling support, take it down. And I believe Taeja, without any mining opportunities anywhere, will have a very difficult time. Planetary Fortress now being upgraded there at the 3 o'clock expansion location. We can see a number of orbital commands, but there is not that much energy left on them. They will not be able to strip mine as much. Not the 7 or 8 that we saw earlier. Snute now getting those Corruptors. He does also have Ultralisks ready to go, or will have them ready to go in just a moment, as the Zerglings and Roaches are going to be pushing in here. We are now going finally into a Greater Spire. Snute did not want to let up on that pressure at all. You can see no hatchery here. Snute just making sure that he is not going to throw this game to the wind. Taeja has been playing the better engagement game, but this is not a game of engagements. This is StarCraft 2, and it really matters about your resources, and Snute has been winning out in that resource front tremendously. 10,000 resources lost more, but he's probably up in about 15 to 20,000 resources harvested, and there is the GG. Snute taking game 2 to even up the series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game 2. Please stay tuned for game 3.